Okay, we'll be going here live. Welcome back to Realcast Fishing. Your host, Glenn, with the Cedar Island Fishing Field Team, COAF Field Team on YouTube. And this round, what do we got for you? We're talking the Little Red Book of Fly Fishing. So we're going to go through tips 76 through 80. And then, we'll read it. And then I'll discuss some of those key points out of each one. And then maybe shift to some other things, maybe some little quick fishing updates about a certain thing that I got the other day, which is the 3D printer. All right, let's go ahead and start out with the tips. Tip 76, a cure for nymphing neurosis. Here's yet another pitch for the value of an additional split shot or two. Imagine a scenario: you're casting fish feeding on nymphs near the bottom, but you can't buy a bite. Either you're using the wrong fly or not making the proper presentation. Which is it? You keep changing patterns, but you've got the nagging suspicion that there's a problem, that the problem lies with your drift. What to do? Most veteran anglers start by ensuring that they have enough weight on the line to get the nymph down to where the fish are likely to be. Let's see, Victor Kona. What's up? Hey, how's it going? We're just talking Little Red Book of Fly Fishing and just giving you some tips, going through tips 76 through 80. Okay, after you satisfy that basic requirement, then proceed with fly juggling act with far more assurance that the puzzle can be solved. So in tip 76, let's just go recap that really quick. And they're talking about a cure for nymphing neurosis, another pitch for adding some additional split shots. So this is the case where a lot of times you'll find that you have the right pattern, it's just not in the particular depth that you need to be where those fish are lurking. And that's what they're talking about, adding another split shot or two just to get it down there. Okay, going to tip 77, staying humble. You can spot an angler who's proficient on quiet meadow streams by the wear showing on the knees of his waders, as keeping a low profile is often the difference between spooking fish in slack currents or not. Try casting from your knees, keep the rod tip low as possible, crawl into an approach position if you must. Okay, so, that's a good one to keep in your back pocket. Specifically, keeping that low profile because, yes, the trout will get spooked. Fish in general will get spooked. And sometimes they're even talking about maybe wearing some more olive or drab gear that doesn't spook the fish. So staying humble, number 77, makes sense to me. Okay, let's go on to tip 78. Sunny side down. Lacking eyelids, trout don't like looking into the sun. Make your approach with the sun at your back, particularly early and late in the day, and you'll get closer without being seen. Plus, you'll also be better able to spot the fish. A bonus is that you'll eliminate a lot of those light flashes from the glossy finish of your rod and all those shiny objects dangling from your vest. That said, the spoilers can be shadows, but some behind you be mindful of the be mindful of the shadows you cast onto the run. A few steps to the right or left may make a difference. And so let's go back. For those that are listening on the podcast, I'll just describe. It's a picture showing an individual who is casting to a rock, and his shadow is casting in the direction of where the fish may be lurking. And the suggestion here is to go a little bit off to the left or right and get your shadow out of that cast away from where the fish may be lurking. So, okay, another play on making sure that you don't spook the fish. And basically, I like calling it being able to present your fly first. That's the first thing that the fish sees before it actually sees or notices anything else that may be around, and particularly yourself. Okay, tip 79, look beyond your indicator. Whether plastic, balsa, or yarn, indicators are effective and popular tools for many nymphing situations. Many anglers have come to depend on them. Trouble is the considerable delay between the time a trout actually takes a fly and when the signal is telegraphed up the ladder to the indicator often results in missed fish. If you use indicators, work on your ability to keep one eye on the bobber and the other where you expect your fly to be. Watch for a flash or any movement that might suggest the fish has taken your fly. Your percentage of hookups will increase. Let's see, Joseph, that guy. Good day, lad. Teaching how to drift the fly today. Oh, just going through the Little Red Book of Fly Fishing, tips 76 through 80. And let's see, we're on tip 79 about looking beyond your indicator, which is, in this case, you cast your indicator. Instead of just looking at the indicator, aka bobber, and paying attention to it, it's saying to look beyond that bobber or that indicator for some other indication of a strike on your fly. And this kind of comes into play when I fished up at Turtle Falls in Oklahoma when they were stocking one year. I was fishing with a strike indicator, but I was actually keying off a flash. So I would have my indicator here, but I would see a flash underneath and see that strike. And I would take advantage of, well, when I saw the flash and I couldn't see my fly, I'd go ahead and set the hook. And that seemed to help. Let's see. I highly recommend using a stimulator, humpy, or any really heavy floating fly as an indicator. Hopper dropper is a favorite combo. And good point there. Yes, that's a good one, Joseph, that guy. The hopper dropper rig. I've had many a time where I've got an indicator and they actually strike the indicator instead of my fly, and it would have been really nice to have, well, maybe a hopper on there instead. Let's see, John Harlan Willis. I caught a. Okay, I only see I caught a. So we'll stand by for some more info that you may have, John. Okay, let's go ahead and ship to the next one. This is gonna be the last one in this this round. Tip 76 through 80. This is number 80, the down current hook set. As a guide, I often see people. Oh, let me go ahead and give you the write-up. Here we go. The down current hook set. As a guide, I often see people make great casts and drifts, then yank the fly out of the trout's mouth when it hits. The problem is they try to set the hook in an upstream direction. Trout face into the current 99.9% of the time. They eat things that float toward them. If a trout eats a bug, dry fly, or nymph that is floating toward it, why on earth would you think it's a good thing to rip that fly back upstream? The whole point of the fly fishing is to get that J-shaped hook into the trout's mouth, and that can only happen if you set the hook down current, not downstream, but down current. Okay, yeah, this is a good one. I've experienced this, seen this as well. So the trout, most likely current coming in, let's say from my right, and the trout is facing into that current, and you cast your fly, and if you set the hook up current, you're gonna pull that fly away. It's just saying, go ahead and set the hook down current so the hook goes into the fish's mouth. Let's see. Also, strip set helps in heavy current. Yes, strip set's very good. Stopped using indicators last year because brookies kept going for it instead of my flying stonefly. Yeah, that's another good one too. Excellent. Let's see. I think there's still some more on number 80. Oh yeah. Let me continue on with 80. It seems as if our instinct tells us to lick and pull upstream with every take. Before you make your next cast, take a minute, watch the way the current is moving, and then plan to set the hook down current in the same direction of the current flow. This will increase your success to net ratio tenfold. And again, it's just showing a illustration of setting the hook down current so the hook goes into, or the fly goes into the fish's mouth, and you get a solid hook set, versus if you pull away, you're pulling it away from the trout and potentially missing that that trout. All right. Okay, that was tips 76 through 80. We're just kind of keeping these short. This is, again, the Little Red Book of Fly Fishing. I usually go through it throughout the season and just kind of get an update on different things that it may point out. And it's kind of good to just read it and just seeing some new information that, well, that I may have forgotten and whatnot. All right. Let's see. Let me go back and recap that real quick, what they were. Tip 76 was a cure for nymphing neurosis. And that's this case of adding some additional split shot to get that fly down to where it belongs versus you start switching flies. Next one was staying humble. It's just talking about reiterating, staying stealthy and keeping a low profile and stay to not spook the trout. Sunny side down, moving left or right just so that your shadow is cast away from the trout maybe lurking. And then 79, looking beyond the indicator. So you're not just looking at the indicator. You may miss a hook set. Look past it. So it's sort of like keeping an eye on the indicator, but at the same time, keeping an eye on what may be your fly or a flash of a trout taking your fly. And then finally, the down current hook set, which I tend to agree with this one. Best to hook or set the hook down current so that the fly goes into the trout's mouth versus going the opposite, up current, and pulling that fly away. Okay. Let's see. Next piece is, here's a quick video here, just talking about other things now that we've shifted away from the Little Red Book of Fly Fishing. And this is the 3D printed microblade lure. Okay, I initially made these out of some brass sheet, and really thin sheets and whatnot, and they were working really well. But I noticed it was taking a little bit too long to make, and so I went ahead and made a 3D printed version using some PLA filament, and I've had some really good success with the original one that I put. And then when I added a larger hook, I started getting some more solid hook sets as well. Took it out about 3-4 times now, and been really happy with it. I'll probably play around with it some more on the that's the 3D printer right there, where I'll probably make some adjustments and see if I can make some more other things. Which, when talking fishing fly, I did see a video the other day where they were talking about using a 3D printer to print out the fish skulls piece that you can put on your fishing fly. It's sort of mimicking a minnow and whatnot. Let's see. Also, on the stealth thing, I try to avoid having my shadow in the water. Small stream and neutral colors: gray, strap, green, or brown. Yep. More assurance that the Little Red Book of Fly Fishing is giving some good advice, especially for the fly fishermen. Okay, short one this round. I just wanted to get the word out and make sure I could get us through the Little Red Book of Fly Fishing, and a little quick talk on the 3D printed lure piece. Got to play around with that one more. I'm really hyped up about that one, especially since I've got the back over there, my micro lure / ultralight bait casting gear, bait finesse style. So appreciate y'all joining today. We'll be doing this again to go through tips 81 through 85. Additionally, there'll probably be another one of these where I'll just do an impromptu touch base where, hey, let's just talk fishing. I call it the fishing ramblings. So there was a suggestion to call it the babbling brook. Okay, Bassin. Hello. Hi, okay, Bassin. In fact, I do have time right now if you want to just kind of do some ramblings today. I went today, where did you go? Blue River, possibly, Oklahoma Basin, or elsewhere, and I'll hold for the response. Let's see, to my creek. Okay, all right. And how'd it go at your creek? Okay, Basin. Let's see. I think there's a slight delay here. Okay. And what gear were you using in particular? I think I may have lost him. All right. Let's see. Windy, we just had a cold front, so they went back deep. Yeah, we did have one come through, and unfortunately, we actually had some pretty good size hail in the area as well. So pattern's a little bit off. I haven't been out since the cold front came in. I did go the day before and got some consistent bites using that 3D micro lure. Windy, okay. Other than that, kind of playing around with that 3D setup and see if I can get some other stuff. Slow rolling a chatterbait in the depths. Excellent. What size gear were you using? Was it the bait finesse stuff or just your normal bait casting gear. All right. It looks like we got some other folks on the line. So at this point, this is the Little Red Book of Fly Fishing series, and well, this is just an open forum at this point. If you have any particular questions and suggestions and whatnot, I'm here to listen. Additionally, if anything else pops up that you can think of or you want to reach out, do let me know. You could put comments as well as in the chat here. Additionally, I do follow up on a lot of the replies that I get or comments, so I can maybe touch base with you there. 7'3", medium, heavy, moderate with Shimano SLX and a 12-pound fluorocarbon. Excellent, excellent. It was a slower bite. Were you able to catch anything? And for those that are in the area, I'm up in North Texas, Dallas-Fort Worth area, and in particular, this time of year, we're seeing some nice bass on beds with the spawn going on. 2 4s. Oh wow, 4-pounders. Nice, excellent. Always good to get some poundage going when it comes to this time of year. And just to recap on the season, we just closed out the trout stocking season, and we shifted over to more pond fishing, specifically for some of the bass and whatnot. There are the white bass that were or possibly are still running up the creeks, and I believe they're starting to move back into the lake. So I think some of us maybe possibly doing some kayak fishing, maybe with some jug lice for potential catfish, or maybe doing some trolling with, trolling, maybe getting some white bass. Caught one on top water yesterday, but then the cold front came through. I was tending to catch with that 3D micro lure. I was catching them just below the surface. I'd say maybe less than a foot to get the hookups, but I wasn't getting anything up where I normally get along the river or along the banks and whatnot. But I suspect that's going to change here with the temperatures warming up here, I guess, in the next week or so. But of course, we do have that total eclipse coming, so I wonder how fish react, or maybe the bite will be on a total eclipse day. That might be one to think about. Maybe if you guys catch anything during that time, maybe shoot out something and just say, hey, it was an awesome day fishing on a total eclipse day. So using a Guggen Black Series Muscle and Corrado M with 50-pound braid and a Guggen Mini Frog. All right, excellent, excellent. That was on the top water, it sounds like. Let's see. I've not used the Guggen Mini Frog. I've got several frogs, but I haven't used the Mini Frog at this point. I do like using the tiny Rebel Craw lure. Not the one that's the single hook. Instead, I like the treble hook version, and it seems to be doing really well when I slowly reel it in on a steady retrieve as it goes by some of these spawning bass. You mainly use Guggen. All right, all my rods are Guggen. All right, excellent. I got a variety of rods, which tend to be whatever's on sale. All right. All right, well, it looks like we got a lot of folks on. Let's see, I like deer hair frogs with rubber legs, good for pike and largemouth. Excellent, excellent. I did make some deer hair, but not frogs. I made some deer hair poppers, or not really a popper, but it did have that shape of a popper, and those seem to work really well at this one particular school pond in the area, if I recall. There's a high school down the road from us in the next city or town, and it has a pond in the middle of the complex, and it tends to have some nice sized catfish and bass, and I've done really well there fishing flies as well as normal bait casting gear there over the years. I'm not spending I've been a little guilty on the $300 rod piece, but I got yeah. All right, been searching out the topwater bite with my frog to no avail thus far. Weightless fluke Texas rig has been getting the job done. All right. Yeah, the topwater bite's going to be hit or miss at this point because of these cold fronts or changes in temperatures. But yeah, that fluke rig, the one crawdad looking one with the the eye, or not the eyes, but with the claw licking thing where it kind of stands up like a Ned rig. That seems to do really well. Ice just got off. Most of the lakes won't have top water until late June. Okay, Joseph, that guy. So you must be up further north. Um, yeah, I'm here in Texas, so no ice, just some recent rains and a cold front that did come through that brought us some hail. So bummer on that. Let's see. Anything else y'all want to talk about? Else I can go ahead and kind of shut things down here. Definitely open. Steelhead are running though. Oh, nice, steelhead. All right. When it comes to the steelhead, what kind of lures are you using, or flies? There's a couple of flies that I ordered from Red's Fly Shop when I picked up one of their OPST commando heads that they were selling, and I do recall it was a articulated, reminded me of a zonker, a leech fly with a trailing hook, and it was white with a cone head. And I didn't have any steelhead here, but I did have some really good success with it, fishing for bass with it. On that, I was using it on a switch rod. Excuse me, my nose is running from some allergies here. Okay, egg sucking leeches and ties squirmy with ice stub body and a soft tackle. Nice. Yeah, the egg sucking leech. I know a couple of folks over here at the Blue River that were doing really good. Crystal meth, egg pattern, and stoneflies. Okay, yeah, the egg pattern seemed to be working well also in some of the trout stockings that we had as well. Okay, let's see. Have watched a ton of your videos fly fishing for stripers at Denison. Want to get back up there. Any tips? I'm using a 9'5" West Tolleson. All right, well, appreciate checking out the videos on the stripers. Yeah, Denison, a 9'5" weight might be a little bit too light. I was able to land one winter about 26, 27 inch using a 9'5", but then right after that cast, I had a larger one and basically took me to the backing and broke me off some rocks. That 9'5", I was not able to turn them. If I could just get them to turn on that initial run, I was hoping I could. But well, ever since then, I went to a 9'6" weight is what I currently use. A TFO, I think it's a Lefty Cray Pro Signature, and it has more backbone, enough that I can turn, hopefully, a bigger bass. 9'5" weight is good overall, but I would say when you do have a good size one, as well as if you do get a nice sized catfish or buffalo, as well as even a gar, you probably want to go with a bigger one. 8 weight minimum for striper. Yeah, 8 weight would be good. That makes sense. 10 weight for beach fishing stripers. Okay, yeah, that all sounds good too. I tend to, when I go to the longer rods, I'll shift over to a 6 weight, or correction, yeah, it's a 6 weight switch rod, about 11.5 foot, as well as I do have an 8 weight, but they do hold the larger reel. I think I go like two or three sizes up when I'm using my switch rod. And yeah, I've caught some nice sized carp with it, and had no issue bringing them in. I'd say 20-30 pound carp, and I had no issue with the larger size switch rod. That little 5 weight I've used for many years, and when it comes to some of the larger fish, you kind of do want to go up to a larger size rod. Let's see. Makes sense. How most of the ones you were landing were smaller. Oh yeah. It's kind of weird. We had several spillway runoffs at Denison, and when we had those flooded years, the striper action was crazy. You could catch them from the bank. You can catch them in the boat. You'd see the guides going up there and just tearing up on some of these striped bass. And then later on, especially now since things have died down with the water release, you tend to get the smaller ones. They're still fun though. Okay, Pen Battle 2. Okay. Let's see. It's what I use for big muskie, chinook, and stripers. Nice, nice. All right, excellent. I appreciate this. Gotten a lot of engagement here, and appreciate y'all joining today. I was hoping to just give you the latest on the Little Red Book of Fly Fishing Tips, but again, it's an open forum, and it looks like we've got a good forum piece going on here. Let's see. I do plan on doing another one of these in the rambling podcast where we're just talking fishing ramblings and whatnot. But other than that, I do have that bait finesse system style fishing where you're casting bait using bait casting gear, but 1/16 ounce, or in this case 1 gram trout magnets. It's pretty cool. What I've noticed, especially some of these ponds, highly pressured ponds, heavy fishing pressure and whatnot, but just by going by a smaller size lure presentation, I seem to get more hookups compared to some of the larger ones. But of course, I do like that philosophy of big bait, big fish. That always is good to keep in your back pocket as well. That's light for a bait caster. Oh yeah. The Kingfisher, Butterfly Kingfisher, that's the one that I use with some 1 gram trout magnets, and I use it to catch several trout and whatnot. And then I'd say the largest bass so far with that thing has been maybe a 2-pounder. I did using another bait finesse style one. I caught a nice size. I think it was like a 7-pounder bass out of a pond in Oklahoma. And I was using a 1/16, I was using 4-pound test on there. A squirmy and heavy pushing pressure like a pink red worm is great for bass carp. Yeah, I do agree. I also have used, I call it a San Juan worm ball. So it's basically a San Juan worm tied similar, but then I add like 2 to 3 other of the little pieces of chenille, and it makes a glob looking thing of worms, like a ball of worms kind of drifting in the current. I've used that to catch catfish, but it's mainly when I'm kind of bouncing it along the bottom, letting it just kind of drift along the bottom in some heavier current, or at least some current, little creeks and whatnot. I've had some good success with that San Juan worm ball. Excuse me. And then I did tie a damselfly, the foam damselfly. What I'm waiting on there is, as things warm up and the evening bite comes around at our local ponds, you'll start noticing a hatch happening. Something is hatching and the fish are biting. Usually I'll try seeing if I can catch it by hand or whatnot and just get a feel for the size of that particular fish or insect that may be hatching, and see if I can match that pattern. And I've been surprised by how many bass I've caught on a little fly. In fact, the crackleback one, that was one that surprised me. Sparse tide fishing fly, I cast it out and I was surprised at how many bass were striking it. Cool stuff. Catfish, I usually just put some bait on a clouser minnow. Some call it cheating, but it's all fishing to me. Oh yeah, that'll work also. All right, I gotta shut things down. Really appreciate y'all joining today, and I hope to be doing this again. The next one will be the fishing ramblings, and hope to be able to just give you some updates on what things we've had happen in our area, maybe get some good tips and whatnot, or suggestions from the folks that do join. And with that, we'll also talk about the Little Red Book of Fly Fishing when we get to that series as well. All right, appreciate it again. Thanks for joining, and appreciate the support. All right, all for now. Next time, we'll catch you later, and good luck and good fishing.